shaping him. Now we're going to get onto the button wrap and plotting the revere and the collar. All of this is also very simple. You just need to follow instructions to a certain degree, and you also have a little bit of design wiggle room in terms of how you would like your collar and your lapel to look. Hopefully the images you've been looking at of jackets for inspiration will have given you an idea about what it is that you would like. The first thing we're going to do is add the button wrap. So sometimes I'll refer to it as the button stand, but in jackets usually refer to it as the button wrap. Exactly the same rules apply as those rules when we were doing these shirts. So here we have the centre front. Your buttons and buttonholes are going to sit on the centre front, but you need a wrap so that they can sit on fabric. Same rules again as with the shirt. Usually it's about the size of the button, and I'm making a guess here that I'm going to go for 2.5. That's what I'm going to do here. Okay, so that is now going to be my button wrap. This is where the sewing line will be. Next thing we need to do is work out where the break point is going to be. So the break point is the point at which the collar or the revere comes back on itself. So that can happen virtually anywhere from quite high up, just above the armhole line, to really low down. It depends completely on what your design is going to be. But it is important you make that decision, because this decision will make a difference as to where your break line will be, and that will make a difference as to what angle your collar is at. So it's an important decision to make. It needs to be made now. So I'm going to say I'm going to come just slightly lower than the bust line, and I'm going to have my break point here. The break point happens on this outer edge, so beyond the button wrap, not on the centre front. If you have it on the centre front, again, it alters the angle, and you don't want to do that. Okay, so once you've got that in, we're then going to have a look at where that fold line will be. And the fold line, or the break line, is going to run up into the collar. So we need to extend from the shoulder point into the neckline by 2.5. There we go. And we're going to join that line, or we're going to join that dot to our break point here, and that's our break line. We're going to take that line up further as well. There we go. I've taken it up through to what will be the collar. As you can see now, this sort of floats away from the garment, and we now need to put a line in that runs through the corner where the shoulder line hits the neckline. That's going to run parallel with your break line at 2.5. 2.5. Come on. Sorry, I'm being a bit ditzy here. And I'm going to bring that line down also. So there we go, we have a parallel line to the break line. From this break line here, we're going to decide on what our lapel shape is going to be. So it doesn't always have to be at a right angle, but I'm going to do a line, a right angle to my break line, and I'm going to take it out like so. And where it extends from there, from the break line outwards, that is the length that your lapel is going to be. I'm not going to have it that long. I'm going to drop it back down here, run it into the front to my break point. So that's the lapel kind of done. I'm going to now have a look at what happens with the back collar. So with the back collar, from this shoulder point here, to find the centre back of the collar, we need to know what the back neck measures. So this back neck measures 8.4 centimetres. So I'm going to draw up this line by 8.4 centimetres, and I'm going to square off. And I'm going to make a decision that from that line to the, what we call the leaf edge of the collar, is going to be 8.5. Now, these last lot of figures that I'm giving you, this needs to be squared, if only for a little bit. Otherwise you'll get a point or a dip on your centre back of your collar. The lapel, the collar, the how deep it is, the how wide it is, the how narrow it is, those are all design options, so you get to choose. I'm not going to give you set numbers on those. You'll have a little bit of creative license, haven't you? Okay, if I carry on this line from the centre back of the collar down towards the lapel, I'm going to have a look at where I would like the collar to hit the lapel and the shape that's going to be made. So the shape that's going to be made between the collar and the lapel there is called a notch, which is a bit confusing because balance marks are also called notches. But yeah, this here, this is the notch. Where it starts is the design issue, but what you want to make sure is that it's further away from the break line than this point. If it's not, when you've got the collar on, when it's all sewn into place and your collar gets turned back, you'll be able to see this corner, which, well, you don't want that, basically. Okay, so I'm coming up. I made a decision that it was going to be there, and I'm going to draw a line up. You can have this as a straight edge. I like my collars with a bit of a curve on them, so I'm going to say that the outer edge of my collar is going to be this shape. The outer edge of the collar, incidentally, is often called the leaf edge. Not everybody uses that term, but it's the leaf edge. Okay, so if you then want to have a look and see if you like what that collar and revere is doing, it's quite easy for you to fold the paper. That's an earlier attempt, you can see underneath. And you can see through the paper this shape, and I like that shape, so that's what I'm going with. That's going to be the shape of my collar and revere. So there's more to come, but I'm going to stop this bit of filming here and I'll go on with the next step in a moment.